Final touch on the 3.4. I just went ahead and connected the fuel line. Pretty scary because when I removed the 3.0 fuel line, the union here was super hard and it's pretty much stripped right now, but I was still able to get it in there with the vice grip. So from now on, we just need to make sure that if we need to remove the fuel line, don't remove it from there anymore, remove it at the fuel rail. So that's it right there. We have to install the new starter. Something that you guys need to know is that Denso 280-0166, the 3.0 and the 3.4 starter, either one will work, but depending on who does your harness, make sure you know which one it is, because the 3.4 and the 3.0, the starter trigger right here, this plug is different. So mine is wired up for 3.4, so I can use a 3.4 starter. Something to keep in mind is that the mounting is different. If you look on the starter, that hole is threaded. This is the top, so it goes like this. This is the top, that's threaded, and down there is also threaded. But when you bolt this onto the 3.0 tranny, the bolt goes from this way through the tranny or through the bell housing and then bolts into here. And then on the bottom of the 3.0, the bolt goes through here and then threads onto the bell housing. So what we have to do is, since this hole is threaded, we just need to drill it out. We just have to drill it out so that the bolt can pass through. And let me show you guys for demonstration. So for example, the top one is fine. It's gonna go through the bell housing and then screw from the top. And then the bottom one, it can't, this is threaded hole right now, so it needs to be just a straight hole where this can slide through and then it'll thread onto the bell housing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Just get your drill bit and just drill those threads out. Nothing really, you don't have to make it any bigger. You just need to do the same size, and then just use your bolt to check, and like once it passed through, then you're pretty much good to go. And remember, we are only drilling the bottom hole. There's two holes only, top and bottom. The bottom one is close to the starter trigger. I use a 3/8 drill bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, or it doesn't have to be good. It just need to be passable. And this is aluminum housing, so it's really easy to drill. Oh, gotta hold it. Oh no, I did the top hole. Just kidding. This is the bottom one. Let me grab my bolt and check it out real quick. Once your bolt passes through, you're pretty much good. But let me go ahead and do this side real quick, or from this end. The original starter that I got with the motor was still good, but it's all dusty and oily, and I don't want to touch that. I want something nice and shiny. Make sure you get all the shaving off. That original one, we'll go ahead and clean it up whenever we have time, and then I'll keep it for spare, but that's it. Quick test, take the bolt. Oh, it's not big enough. Hold on. Uh-oh, not big enough. So I can probably thread it through and then it'll go bite the bell housing, but I want it passable. So let me go ahead and step it up with the, so just go ahead and keep drilling it. We're gonna use the same drill bit, just make it more, keep shooting it. Got the hole drill, just had to do like 10 more passes. So that's what it should look like. Your bottom hole goes through the starter, bites the bell housing. The top one goes through the bell housing, bites onto the starter. It's easier to install the starter with the passenger front jacked up and the passenger front tire removed. But it is a bit tricky, so have fun in there. So we'll get this mounted up, and then after that we'll go ahead and mount the trigger. And then we have the hot wire from the battery, hot, and then the hot wire from the 80 amp fuse box that bolts onto this stud here. So the power, it's getting power from the battery, and then power is also going into that fuse box, which powers up the fuse box and such. Makes sense? Positive wires hooked up. I went ahead and built a new negative wire using 6 gauge. I believe, no, this is 4 gauge. Using 4 gauge. The positive wire is the original 3.4 positive wire. No modification needed. And then the negative wire, I just used it aftermarket one, a bigger bigger one. Usually the negative goes right under the oil filter. I didn't like that location because when you drain your oil, all that oil gets on it. So I went ahead and made the wire longer, and it goes right under where the AC used to bolt to, the first bolt right here, 14 mil on the engine block. This is the 80 amp hot wire. It's nicely routed. I went ahead and used these rubber cable clamp. They're super nice. So this is the 80 amp, and then this is the starter trigger. They're all nice in there. The igniter, there's a one hole right here that this goes into, and then there's another hole that I went ahead and drilled it. So this is nice and sturdy, not gonna make any noise. We got the starter installed already, fuel line hooked up, starter trigger. Went ahead and used another rubber clamp right on the engine mount. There's a little 10 mil, so that's all nice. It's not gonna move anywhere. It's not gonna move and touch the exhaust manifold, and it's all sweet in there. And then this is the 80 amp 80 amp that goes onto the starter. So super sweet. The inspection plate, you have to remove this inspection plate. We're gonna keep this off right now because we still have to bleed the sleigh cylinder, and right now if we keep it off, we have more access to the nipple right there. So I'll go ahead and install that on later. So everything's sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels back on. We did went ahead and order some new shocks. These are probably the original Toyota shocks, but they're pretty dead. When you bounce around, this truck just bounce up and down. So I have some new shocks on the way, just some really economical friendly from AutoZone. So those will be here soon. And then my rear shocks are here right now, so that's the next thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and install my rear shocks. I want to do an added leaf on this truck, but I'm just gonna wait till we finish the 3.4 and then drive for a bit and then go from there. But we're definitely gonna add a leaf to the rear just so that it has more you know, more bouncy or more stiffened up there a little bit. We're pretty much good to go. The only thing we're waiting for now is the radiator. Hook up the belts, hook up the cam sensor, close it up, and then everything's ready to go. All the plumbing, all the vacuum lines hooked up, electrical, everything is hooked up right now. So we are solid. If I was to put that negative wire on, we can actually turn on the vehicle. We should be able to turn on the vehicle and go from there, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and start my rear shocks and also start doing my exhaust manifold, or no, the exhaust downpipe. So I'll show you guys that here shortly. So that's the negative, and this is the positive. So it just stays under here. So right under the belly pan. So usually that 14 mil goes right there under that oil filter, but it just becomes a mess when you drain your oil. So, but that's all nice. We'll go ahead and put on the skid plate once we're done. For our rear shocks, we're just going with some pretty basic stuff from Amazon. This is the KYB gas adjust, part number KG5438, stock height, or you can do about 1 inch or 2 inch lift. So that's what they look like. And again, I believe all the shocks on this truck right now are the original Toyota OEM, which lasts pretty good. It's been 30 years, but I think the rears are still good, but the fronts are dead, so I might as well just do all of them. I believe it's a 17 or 19, and then we're also gonna go ahead and clean those bolts and then put some anti-seize on it. 17 mil, guys. 17 mil for the confirmation. I think we'll be able to shoot the bottom one, and then on the top one we'll have to use the ratchet. So you don't have to lift the truck or anything. You can just pop it out right here. So that's what it looks like. Bolt's pretty clean actually. Doesn't look that bad. Yep. There's also a little washer, so don't lose that metal washer. It goes in like that. Boom. I forgot my little pry bar, but man, I don't think we're gonna be able to. I don't think we can shoot this one up here. Yeah, I don't want to strip that, so we'll go ahead and use the old school style. Yeah, these are the original Toyotas. Yeah, that's crazy. I might have to go get my cheater bar. Alright, let me go get my cheater bar. I need my cheater bar, I need my pry bar. One day, guys, I will have a car lift. But for right now, we're good. We at least have a garage, and I'm grateful for that. It's a little 13-inch cheater bar from AutoZone. Try to close my eyes when I do this. This truck's not super dirty or anything, but there's definitely dust flakes and stuff. You can tell these have never been changed. Oh yeah, these things have never been changed, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not gonna show you guys the rest and bore you guys. Pop it out, put the new ones in, and then do the other side. Let me get that done. I'll get back to y'all. We're gonna go ahead and do the downpipe next. One of the other parts you have to do on the 3.4 is exhaust work. So if you're not familiar with that, have somebody do it for you. This is the downpipe for the 3.4. This is the downpipe for the 3.4. Pretty nasty condition, but usable. We'll go ahead and clean it up, wire brush it. On the 3.4, there's this little bracket right here. This right here is for the exhaust bracket. Go ahead and chop this off. You don't need this anymore. And zip it right down. Zip it down. You only want these holes right here. All right, so pretty simple. Let me go ahead and chop this off. We'll go ahead and clean this up. I'm probably gonna delete this O2. We're gonna use a new O2. This one looks pretty bad, or I might be able to use it, but all the nuts are pretty bad. Doesn't look like it's ever been changed. And then we're gonna cut off the flange and then put the 3.0 flange. When you guys are gutting your 3.0, keep the exhaust stuff right here, all this exhaust flange and stuff. The only thing you don't need from the 3.0 is the muffler and past that, but from the O2 and upwards, you want to keep all those. So this is pretty simple. So that right there, delete. That's pretty much it. I can probably clean that up a little bit more, but don't need to. And then we'll go ahead and cut the flange off. For that, I'm gonna use a Sawzall, nice and clean. You definitely want to do this with a fresh new blade because you want a nice clean cut. Look at that. So the 3.0, the 3.4 flange is too big. You don't need that. Trash. 3.0. I'm gonna cut it right here. We're gonna put a new O2 sensor mount. So basically, just like that. We're gonna put an extender pipe though, so something a little bit longer. This is 2 1/4 outside diameter, part number 47973 Walker. So basically what we do is, now this isn't my idea, this is John's idea. He came up with all this stuff. I'm just doing what he's doing. This 2 1/4 goes right inside the 3.4 pipe. You'll go ahead and weld it, and then you just go ahead and measure how long you need it, and then you connect this flange that butts right into the exhaust system that I showed you guys on the other video. So how sweet is that? So we'll go ahead and go get this mounted up, measure 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times, and then do some equation, and then we'll go ahead and put this in there. Now this goes into the 3.4 perfectly. You can weld that in, and then we'll go ahead and cut out a O2 sensor mount, and then this 3.0 goes right inside, nice and snug, not too tight, not too loose. But once I clean that up, it'll go right inside, and then I can go ahead and just weld right on top of it. So that's the beauty of this 3.4, 3.0, and this pipe right here, 47973. So technically we probably need it about right over here, I want to say, but again, I'll have to go measure it and then we'll go from there. Here's the finished product downpipe. exhaust 2 1/4 pipe, and then down to the 3/0 flange. I need to practice more welding on the exhaust stuff. Exhaust is so thin that you have to get the right temperature. I was messing around my settings around heat code bead, and then speed was like 2 or 1.5, and just didn't get it fully dialed. So the pretty wheels, it doesn't look so pretty, but it's all good. Everything's nice and sturdy. That's what it looks like. We'll go ahead and pre-mount this. Just go ahead and get it mount up, and then we'll mark where we need to put the O2. So yeah, one O2 upstream, and then usually the downstream is gonna be like over here. And again, we did went ahead and delete the cat. We didn't delete the cat. This is where the cat light will take place, but we're just gonna run straight through here. And like I said, our wire harness is bypassing the cat light converter, so no check engine light or nothing like that. So that's what it looks like. 3/4 down pipe, 2 1/4 pipe, and then 3.0 flange, and then that butts up into the exhaust system that we have right there, the walker. But that's what it looks like, pretty stout. And then we'll go ahead and put some exhaust hanger once we get everything fabricated up. And we do have a new gasket. I'll show you guys the gasket part number later on once we get that installed.